Hello friends, welcome back to TechnoGeek SFDC. So in today's video, we are going to see some of the flow related features which has been introduced by Salesforce as part of Winter 25. So as you all are aware that Winter 25 is around the corner and Salesforce has provided a lot of new features which you can use in your day-to-day task. So in this video, we'll just discuss some of them which can be very much helpful for you as per me. So before going on the feature, we would like to see the some of the key dates which has been provided by Salesforce, like when it will be updated in your sandbox, when it will be available in your production, and when the release notes and all will be available. So if we start looking as the timeline, so during the 8th August, your pre-release aux will be available with these features, and then 14th August was the timeline which was provided that yeah, the release notes and all will come in, followed by the updation or basically providing the features in your sandboxes and in the September around there is a tentative date that when this will be available in your productions as well. So these are some of the timelines which Salesforce has provided. So considering the timeline, uh, it is more like it will be going in the September or the October. By end of the October, it will these features will be available in all your production orgs as well. So let's get started with what all features are available as part of flows. So one of the very important feature which was in basically in beta in the last release, and we have already discussed about this. I have created a detailed video around this as well. That is your action buttons. So the link will be coming somewhere on the top. If you want to have a look, you can just click on the link, and you will be going to the video where I have provided a complete detailed use case for this action button. So just to give a scenario or just to give a brief introduction about action buttons, these are the buttons which has been provided by Salesforce in Lightning screen flows. Okay, so basically, for example, let's say you want to build a screen, something like what you're seeing in the screenshot, where based on account you want to get the contact. So earlier we used to create the LWC component, passing the IDs, and then doing the query and all other stuffs, which was very kind of complex earlier. Considering all this complexity, Salesforce provided something called action buttons, where you can just create a auto launch flows, and you can call the auto launch flows just with a click of the action button which has been provided by Salesforce. Okay, so this was a very awaited feature, and this is a very game-changing feature, I would say, which will be helpful in building a lot of single page application via your screen flows. So definitely this is something which you should check out for. And as I mentioned, I have already created a complete detailed video around this, how you can use it, how you can configure it. So you can just go to the link. It will be flashing somewhere on the top. You can just have a look around that. Next is your collecting user inputs to modify list of recordings. So as you know, we have something called repeater element. Repeater is being provided by Salesforce, where you can, basically repeat the same set of elements in the screen flows. Okay, but with in Winter 25, what Salesforce has done is it has provided a way that you can modify the existing data by using the repeater element. For example, let's say I have an account, okay, which is having, let's say, two contacts, three contacts, or multiple contacts. I don't know the exact number, okay. So but what I need is I need a screen where I can modify these, you can say these contacts from the screen, okay. So you can do this thing by using the repeater element and the new feature which has been provided by Salesforce. So let me quickly show you that, okay. Let me see if I have the flow up. Okay, it's not there. Yep. So as you can see on the screen here, what I am doing is I'm basically querying a contact list of contact related to an account. I just hard coded an account ID. Okay, let me just show you account as well here. Let me just quickly go over accounts. So let's say I think this is the one which I was mentioning. Yes. So this is the account. As you can see, I already have a two contacts here. Okay, that is Scene Forbes and Rose Cornell. But as I mentioned that I am not sure that it some other account can have multiple contacts, right? So how to configure them so that you can edit those contacts on the UI. Okay. So for that, what I have done here is I have just done a fetch contact. That is basically I just got the contact records. Now I'll walk you through the screen flow. Okay, this is the main part where I would like your attention to be. So as I have as I have drag and drop the repeat element, this is the new feature which has been provided. Okay, that is if you what it is telling that element now can pre-populate the items if you already have that in a collection. Okay, so what I have done here is what I have provided that contact from fetch contact. So in my previous step, whatever the contacts I have created, I am passing those complete list to the repeater. Okay. Now, next what I have done, I have just put a text element inside it. Okay, stating that it is a first name. Okay. If you want, I can maybe just add one more here. Okay. That is, I'll just give it as last name. Okay, last name. Now in the default, as you can see, going forward for this particular text box, the default value what I'm going to do is repeater pre-populated element. That is when I was configuring the repeater element, I have provided the list of contacts or the collections basically. Now I can use any of the fields from there. Okay, so let's say I'll give last name. Okay, and then I can just click on done. Let me just save it. Now let's try to debug it. We'll see how it's going to work. Okay, run. So as you can see what it has done, it has fetched the contacts. Okay, we were not sure that whether it will be 1, 250, how much it is going to be, right? So let's say in my case, I had two contacts here. It already fetched the contacts and showing in the form of input. So this is since it is a repeater element, it just repeated this block, that is first name last name, for each of the contact. Now you can just make the editing here and then you can do your further business logic. So this is what this feature is going to help you, where you can configure the repeater element with a collection of records. Okay, it can be collection of records or collection of data, basically collection of data. Next is going forward, you have you can so you have something called choice lookup. Okay, so choice lookup, okay, so let me just quickly show you on the screen. That will be much more helpful. So choice lookup is basically it's a element in the screen flows. Okay, so this is more of a lookup thing where you can, as soon as you will start typing the things, okay, it will show you it will basically show you the suggestions based on whatever you are typing, and you can select those records. Okay, so now let me just see. Okay, so let me demo choice label. So earlier it was only one record or one drop down value which you could have been able to select it as part of choice lookup. But going forward with this release feature, Salesforce is providing you that let user select multiple options. By default it will be no, because earlier also it was no. But when you will click on yes, okay, you will be able to select more than one choices going forward. Okay, so let me just add a couple of choices here. And I'll just give it as demo 1. Data type text, choice value will be demo 1. Okay, done. I'll just add one more here. Okay, so two choices I have added here. Now I'll just click on done and I'll try to save it. Now let's try to debug again. We'll see how this feature is going to be helpful. Okay, just let me see one thing. If I have enabled the multi-choice. Yes, multi-choice is enabled. Okay, so this is how your actual choice element looks like. It's more of a lookup field how we see in our lightning pages. Okay, so here now going forward, as you can see, as I just hover on I just click on this box, it will show me the different choices. Okay, earlier you were getting only option to select any one of them, but now with this new feature, you get an option that you can select multiple choices and then you can work on it. Okay, so this is what our third feature is telling that, okay, this is how you can create a multi-select lookup field. Okay, next. So as you all aware that Salesforce provides a email related functionality in the flows. Okay, screen flows, auto launch flows, you get the email related functionality. Okay, but there was a very big lag till now as part of this functionality. One second, let me just send email. Okay, there was a very big lag, that was you were not able to add any BCC or CC recipient in the email which you were sending from the flows as part of send email function. Okay, it was a very much asked feature as well earlier, and now with this release you can see that you get an option to BCC recipient list and CC recipient list. So now you can add CC and BCC as well. Okay, so uh, basically now in this feature, basically Salesforce increased some limits as well. That is, it has increased the limits of total number of email recipients from 5 to 150. So that's where you can use the BCCs and CC recipients as well going forward in the send email feature. Okay, this was actually, it was a long pending request by the trailblazers from Salesforce. So yes, this is going to be very much game changing as well. Okay, so this is what we have as part of email related functionality, email related feature which Salesforce provided in the Lightning flows. This can be, and as you know, this send email can be used even in your auto launch flows. It can be used in your screen flows or different types of flows. Okay, now next is create or update efficiently with the create record elements. Okay, so I'll just go back one step. So there are certain changes in the create element which Salesforce has provided earlier. Okay, so let me just quickly show you that by using a create element, create records. So multiple, and let me just okay. So I'll just add a test, or let me just do one thing. I'll just use a record variable multiple uh, contacts. Okay, now you get another option, that is update existing record. Okay, so what it is telling is going forward now you can use this particular feature where, so two things are added here. Basically, first is create can be used as an upsert as well. Okay, so basically you can select that if you have a record ID, external ID, or any standard field. Okay, standard field or external ID or record ID. So based on this, what Salesforce create element will do, it will check in backend that okay, whether there is already an existing record or not. If it is not there, then it will create, otherwise it will update. So kind of upsert, you can say that, which is going to be working in this scenario. Okay, so this is your one feature where you can use any field. It can be an external or a standard field. So if you have external IDs, you can even use external IDs for this absurd operation. Next is your partial insertion. So as you know that I have selected the record collection. Now in record collection, you can have let's say 50 records, out of which 30 might get created successfully. I mean 30 is having the proper data, 20 doesn't have that much proper data, right? So this is where you can now tell the create element, or you can tell the flow that what to do if, even if one record in the whole batch fails. Okay, so this is where you can tell that okay, process all the successful record. Okay, or you can do like process no record. So basically it's a kind of partial insertion where you are telling that allow the partial insertion or don't allow the partial insertion. So in case if you're telling don't allow the partial insertion, even if one record gets failed, then whole thing is going to be roll back and there will be no record created. Okay, so these two are another feature which has been provided by Salesforce as part of this release. So where you can use create element record with more in a more proper way. Okay, now let's go to our last part. So basically, in last part, so what this is telling that Salesforce has just provided another feature where, if you are building a flow which is not very much efficient, then Salesforce will give you a tip on that. Okay. So for example, let me use a loop element first. Okay. So as we all aware, this is a very common scenario. As we all are aware that, you know, doing a DML inside a loop is not at all recommended by Salesforce. Okay, now let's try to one second loop element. Okay, now let's try to do a DML in the in the looping element here. Okay, and we will see what happens. Let's say I'll do a create record. Current element from the loop, and then let's say, so as you know, as you can see that as soon as I use a DML element here, I got a tip here. Okay, the one second, I'll just quickly configure this as well. Let me see. Okay, inside DML. Okay, I'll just give it as inside DML. Okay, now this is what I was telling. As you see that as soon as I configured the create element DML element into the loop for loop, you can see that I got a tip from Salesforce that avoid using database elements inside the loop. So this is what our this feature is telling, that it will identify whatever the process is not efficient as per the flow design, so as per the Salesforce designs. That's what you will be seeing as a tip. Why it is giving it as a tip? Because there are multiple scenarios where you cannot ignore these types of things, right? You might be having a very complex business logic and you have to use a DML inside for loop. So there can be a scenarios. That's where Salesforce is providing them as a tips, telling you that this is not efficient. If possible, please come up with a workaround for this. Okay, so these all are some of the Winter 25 flow related features which I found out very much useful, and I hope you also like this video. You also found these features as very much useful and you will be using in your daily activities or daily project requirements. So with this, I'll take a pause here. If you have any questions, you can just put it in the comments and I'll definitely come up with the answers for them. And till then, we'll take a short break and I'll come up with another videos related to some of the new features, can be related to app builder, LWC, Apex. So just stay tuned with the channel and I'll get more and more information, more and more knowledge to you. So with this, thanks for your time. Bye bye.